This time you will finally lose.
Hi, this is Baya here, and this is the Necro Settlers event slash mini league because we didn't get PoE 2. So I started this a little slow. I didn't really start day 1. I started like maybe day 2 or 3, and I really wanted to pace myself. You know, I didn't really want to play this game like I usually do at league start, because that would just be too insane. I started a Templar because I wanted to try some of the early scaling tech from Captain Lance. I've been looking at his like league starts for a while now, and really keen to try them out. TLDR, Energy Blade's nice. There are very good scaling options early for good damage. It has probably issues with survivability and tankiness. I have tried to solve or mitigate them to some extent here in this build, but do take note that these solutions were mostly like for this particular patch. I don't think you'll have Svalin anymore in the next coming leagues. So yeah, take it with a grain of salt. It's not like a build you can probably play down the road. It's just probably only great for this current patch. That being said, it builds nice for 2 reasons. You get like 89 block for attack and spell block, and then you have like 6k ES, and then you also have pretty good recovery. So I'll show you exactly what I'm using for recovery. I know for Captain Lance, he gets by with Ghost Shrouds and stuff. Personally speaking, I didn't really like the idea of triple attribute stacking. I think that at a I always target builds around 30 to 40 divines. I don't try to go beyond that because for me it doesn't really make much sense. Above 30 or 40 divines, you can almost say you can make any build work. But to make a good build within a 20 to 30 or 20 to 40 divine budget is kind of always been my go-to. And so I've tried to make this build within a budget. And from my understanding of things, you cannot make a tri-attribute stacking version of this for cheap, right? Tri-attribute stacking almost always guarantees that you run like at least 100 divs if you want to optimize it properly. And if you run like close to 30-40 divs, you're actually like gimping yourself hard because you're making generally pretty bad trade-offs. It's also almost always heavily reliant on getting like helico rings or like all the heist rings, which are not cheap. And then you also have to craft them, which isn't cheap as well. So that's kind of the reason why I haven't really gone tri-attribute stacking. So what I've done here is I actually went for just strength and int up to a certain level, up to a certain point. And a lot of the damage scaling that's coming from this build is mostly coming from crit multi and the mind nodes. So this is a Hexblast miner, using Energy Blade to scale flat, and then using the same like scaling mechanics that Captain Last always does. This is using Ivory Tower with reservations on life. This is Blood Magic, and yeah, I have made a few adjustments here and there. I have gone for Magnate, and I've gone for Magnate for a very clear reason. Magnate pretty much gives you permanent uptime on Coruscating Elixir. You notice that it's been up the whole time while I'm talking. Only in some instances where you do like maps where you have reduced flash charges gain, maybe then you have this drop off. But as long as you're killing stuff, I don't think that will happen. But yeah, this is a lot more reliable. Secondly, you notice as well, I'm not using a bismuth flask to fix resistances. I actually don't like that too much. In fact, I don't like the fact that this one actually fixes my fire res. But you know, this can't be helped. So what I've done is I've set this up in a way that I am getting like decent resistances without flask too much. Well, other than this coruscating, I have like more than 100%. I have like 130% uptime on this or something. So yes, then I can kind of rely on this or a bit more than I would not normally be comfortable with. But yeah, so that leaves me like flasks that are mostly for utility. Raw Gut is pretty amazing for this, mainly because you generate so much frenzy charges that you actually don't really have like downtime on frenzy charges. And then with Raw Gut and increased flask effect, you can get a pretty insane amount of movement speed. You don't really see it down here because, like, you know, it doesn't have the onslaught buff, but the onslaught buff you get, like 12-second onslaught buff you get, also gets the increased effect. So altogether you get a really nice amount of movement speed and really nice amount of mobility. Bottle Faith is mostly for like damage, but also for a huge area consecrated ground. Consecrated ground pretty much gives you regen for your ES through zealots. So yeah, that's generally how I would structure the flask systems. And then Magnate is like really strong for that reason, because 50% increased flash charges gain means you don't really actually have to get flash charges gain on any of your nodes for the Bala Bala here. So Brewer's Train, Bala Bala, I've gone for crit chance, elemental damage, life, and yeah, I think that's pretty optimal. You notice as well as for this setup, because I'm pathing here, I don't really like do a lot of stacking. There is some stacking, yeah, but I'm also grabbing all the what I think to be pretty efficient nodes for damage, crit chance, crit multi nodes, especially for mine. And you notice as well, like I have really good recovery, because not only do I have zealots for regeneration, I also have leech. So I think leech is like really strong right now, and everyone knows this. But for some reason we still run mines without Machina, because I think there's too many damage options on rare gloves, and for stacking you usually go for like Shaper's Touch. I kind of look at Shaper's Touch and I was like, if I'm not tri-attribute stacking, it doesn't really make much sense to go Shaper's Touch. So yeah, doing Shaper's Touch over this gives me like maybe about 1,000 more ES, but not significantly enough for me to like drop Leech entirely. And the reason why Leech is so nice here is because as you're pathing here for the mine nodes, you also get Ghost Reaver, so you Leech Energy Shield instead of Life. You cannot recharge Energy Shield, which doesn't matter because you are turning into Life recharge for Eternal Youth, so you actually don't have any Energy Shield recharge. And then when you path down here as well, you get a pretty sizable amount of max total Energy Shield recovery, and then you get instant leech, right? So as long as your mines are hitting stuff, that ES pool is going to be like topped off. You're not going to have to worry too much about it. So that includes being in combat, even while getting hit. So yeah. I kind of need one more level, so to get this point, I think it's like 8% more damage. I've dropped it because I've gone here to get the life reservation efficiency, because I've swapped back to Wrath. I'm using Wrath instead of Skitterbots right now, and because this is a +2 lightning gems, so that's Wrath, and then that's Tempest Shield, so getting decent amount of levels on it. And then I also got a Watcher's Eye that gives me rough damage, so Yeah, this was pretty cheap, like maybe 5-6 divides. I think it was 6 divides. So all in all, damage is really nice here. I think I'm at like, if you count bear trap debuff, probably the only thing that is kind of like conditional. Oh, and consecrated ground, so consecrated ground as well. Although I have pretty decent uptime on it. I'll just press it right now. You can see how fast it recharges when once the duration drops off. But other than consecrated ground and bear trap, everything else is pretty consistent DPS. Yeah. Rings are rares definitely. Not illegals, not the high strings, because these are so cheap. You can snipe them. You know, no problems. Same thing with the amulet. You just get crit multi, energy shield, life, and percentage ES, and then mind throwing speed. I think there are not many amulets that can kind of beat this. So quite happy how this amulet has performed. It was like 100C or something. It wasn't really expensive. Like most of my items are just cheap because no one's going for them. So yeah. What else is there? Yeah, other than that, most of it's pretty much the same as Captain Lance. Crown of Inward Eye is mostly because you get the transfigurations. And then the maximum life, mana, and energy shield. Well, mana doesn't really do anything, but the life and energy shield is nice. So I had similars, so Malachi Similar before this, and Malachi Similar was giving me, I think, about it was 30% less damage compared to this. So I'm very happy with Crown of Inward Eye. So yeah. So this particular setup relies on like Spell Lucky Block, so you get an 89% effective block chance. It kind of makes sense, this particular patch, because of the synergies of pathing to block areas. So you're gonna go here anyway because of where you path for strength and in stacking. And then while you're pathing like this, you have like spell block nodes here, and then you have attack block nodes here on the way pathing to strength stacking, as well as blood magic. So you have like the cap block, you have the block nodes as well, and then you just show up the rest with like jewels. So I've got like fracture jewels that have 3% block chance, and I've just crafted them myself because this is the Necro League. Tumbling pretty much gives you free flow of chaos as long as it's available. You can farm like, I don't know, 200-300 chaos per map. So you know, you just get a fracture jewel and just spam chaos on it until you get something you like. So that's what I've done so far for like 3 different jewels. Yeah, and this is Watcher's Eye, and this is the Balabalas. So not that complex. So all in all, this build is currently set me back. Let me just count for you how much it cost. The weapon is free, pretty much free. Rings are like 40C, 80C, so 120C. One divine's like maybe about 320C right now. This helm was like 1 div. This was like 8 divs. This was 4 or 5 divs. This is like 100C. This is 1 div. This is 2 divs, and this is 40C. Only the real expensive stuff here, honestly, is just the Bottle Faith, the Ivory Tower, Watcher's Eye, and maybe the Balabalas. Balabalas was like 2 divs. So this was like 5. This was 2. All in all, like this whole build can probably be assembled for under 30 divs. I think 30 to 40 divs. Probably under 30 divs. So very happy how the performance is for this build. I've been using the mostly farm simulators, ultimatums, because catalysts are going for pretty decent amount of currency. I get raw divines as well from it, and as long as there's no like events like, you know, divine hour or tumbling, ultimatums actually has the most return, I feel, like per hour. And then you can like just buy all these in bulk for pretty cheap. What was it? You can buy bribing and just rusted ultimatums for super cheap. Dueling as well, occasionally you can get from some for like 15C. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. Hope you enjoyed this video. Have been having quite a bit of fun with this like mini league. I'll probably hit like 98 and then chill and like not do much. I've gotten all watchstones already, and I'm like 112, 115. There's like some unique maps I haven't done yet. Alice is somewhat done there. I haven't done Feared, I think. Haven't done Feared. Well, I haven't done 3 invites. Might want to get around to doing that. Cortex, and yeah. I haven't attempted any over yet. Did T17s. I think I did one T17 super early on when my damage wasn't good enough, and I failed that one. Then I did one like maybe about 2 days back or 3 days back, I can't recall, and that went pretty smoothly. I didn't have Swallen at that point, so I was like pretty much crawling through the map. But now with Swallen, it's like a T17 is gonna be like a lot easier to do. I think the strength is built mainly in the leveling, so on X all the way to like yellows, because what you can run at level 20 is pretty much this. Okay, what I did was I run double Tassalio signs, which I always do that. You run Malachi similar for the 20% damage. You run Magnate, or you can go for Immortal, the regen belt. You go Rise of the Phoenix. You go what was it called again? Ghost Wraith, and then you should have pretty much enough damage to just go to yellows, just like that. And all these items are readily available at level 20. Yeah. So then that was pretty smooth. It was only when I hit like I think reds where this build had damage but just didn't have the tankiness, and it just felt bad at times. So you kind of really have to go Swallen, I feel. You can go Wrath Pit setup, but then your max hit, like your max hit is usually terrible, and like your EHP is like maybe at most 90k with block without Swallen. So you don't get lucky block, so you get like maybe 75, 76 kind of block. It's still not too bad. It's just not something I'm super comfortable with in the build. Alright, yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm not gonna talk more. I've been talking too much. See you guys, I'm out. Bye.